Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Coffee House Club in New York, and this episode of FlatFinders from 1881. Two young men about town are joining forces to find a comfortable flat that they can share in London. Now, let's meet these fellows, follow them on a tour of 3 prospective lodgings, and listen in as they hunt for the home that suits them best. It's a January morning in Piccadilly Circus. Our 2 gentlemen are standing outside the Criterion Bar when a young woman approaches them.
Dr. Watson, Mr. Holmes, I'm Violet Stamford. It's my brother who introduced you.
I'm delighted to make your acquaintance, Miss Stamford.
And I as well. But we are waiting for a house agent to show us some prospective diggings.
And here I am. I work for Holloway and Steele, the house agency in the Edgware Road. My brother tells me you are looking to share a place. My agency has quite a few property listings here in London, and I will be happy to show them to you. First, however, tell me what you are looking for.
Well, Miss Stamford, as you are aware, Mr. Holmes and I have only just met. Your brother introduced us yesterday because, by coincidence, we both told him that we wondered whether it was possible to get comfortable rooms at a reasonable price.
Yes, and I was concerned that some nice rooms may be too dear for my purse. So I wondered if he knew anyone who'd go halves with me.
We can come to your budget in a moment. Tell me, first of all, what your needs are. What are you looking for?
I have to have a quiet place with a bedroom for myself alone that I can close off. I am recuperating from a bullet wound and enteric fever. My nerves are very shaken. My health forbids me from venturing out unless the weather is exceptionally genial. I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours and, well, I'm extremely lazy.
What about you, Mr. Holmes? What are your requirements? Any things that you must have?
Like my new friend Watson here, I would like the place to be a quiet one. And I need a bedroom of my own as well.
Minimum 2 bed chambers. All right. What about the common area? A parlor? A sitting room? A dining room? Will you be entertaining?
Not in the way you mean, Miss Stamford. I will use the sitting room as a place of business. When my clients put in an appearance, I will beg for the exclusive use of the sitting room and ask that my flatmate retire to his bedroom.
What sort of business are you in, Mr. Holmes? My brother said he has no idea.
I was on the point of asking, too, what your work might be.
I am a consulting detective, if you can understand what that is.
My brother calls you a walking calendar of crime. Are you a police officer?
An inquiry agent?
Neither. I consult to government detectives and private detectives. When these fellows are at fault, they come to me, and I manage to put them on the right scent. In other words, I help them catch criminals.
That sounds like interesting work. Dr. Watson, will you also be welcoming visitors?
Oh, alas, Miss Stamford, I have neither kith nor kin in England. No friends to call upon me and break the monotony of my daily existence.
Mr. Holmes, is there anything in particular that you would like your new flat to have?
Shelves and a table on which I can conduct chemical experiments.
Space to pursue a hobby. All right. What about you, Doctor?
I would like to see if I can write for a living, so I'll need a writing desk and windows that will let in plenty of light by which to write and read.
A home bureau with natural light. Would you prefer to live in a city or a suburb?
A semi-rural suburb would be good for my nerves. It's bound to be quieter than the city.
But I would prefer to be in the heart of London.
London, that great cesspool in which all of the loungers and idlers of the empire are irresistibly drained.
And yet, Watson. You seem to have naturally gravitated here to London yourself.
Sorry, I was being sardonic.
You have a certain unexpected vein of pocky humour, Watson, against which I must learn to guard myself.
And you stimulate my curiosity, Holmes. So if we are to live together, the city will do for me as well.
Is there anything else I should know?
I keep a bull pup, so the place would have to be,
Befriending of pets. Oh, is this your little dog?
Oh, I just got him last week from Ross and Mangles in Fulham Road. His name's Roy.
He's adorable. May I pet him? Oh, I wish I had a dog. Oh well, now let's talk about your budget.
Oh, our paternal government pays me 11 shillings 6 a day, so I have just shy of £4 a week. 200 a year, and I have been staying in a private hotel in the Strand that charges £2 12 shillings a week. So I am looking for diggings that are less pretentious and less expensive. 100 a year is as high as I can afford to go.
I have small rooms in Montague Street, just round the corner from the British Museum. But I need more space. My annual income is close to Watson's, but not as steady. I occasionally earn much more than £5 over a week, but often somewhat less. So I wish to pay no more than 100 a year.
I regret to say, gentlemen, that your combined 200 a year will not take you far in the London rental market nowadays. You will have to compromise on some aspects of your list of wishes. But I do know of some properties that should meet your needs. I have 3 listings of flats in mind for you. Shall we have a look?
By all means.
I'm ready. Let's go.
The first flat we are going to see is actually under your budget, at only 100 a year.
Oh, that's a bargain.
But there are trade-offs. The location, for one, we're north of the Thames,
I like that.
but east of London Bridge.
Oh, the East End.
Yes, we're just driving through Fresno Street now. You can see it is still mostly a commercial neighborhood. Not many people live here yet. You would be pioneers getting in early before the gentry.
It certainly is full of commercial buildings. I see the Aberdeen Shipping Company. Where is the flat?
Around the corner in Upper Swandam Lane. Here we are.
Oh, this is a vile alley lurking behind the high walls. Is that the house you want us to see?
The one between the slop shop and the gin shop?
Yes, your rooms would be upstairs, of course. There's a commercial establishment on the ground floor.
I see it. The Bar of Gold. Is that a pub?
In the listing, it's called a gentleman's smoking lounge with oriental decor. But there are plenty of pubs, shops and cafes in the vicinity, and the neighborhood is quite safe. There's a police station nearby with constables and an inspector on duty. Mr. Holmes, wouldn't you appreciate living close to other men in your line of work?
Not really.
Well, I know your finances are limited, so I wanted you to see this flat because it's far below your budget. Only £100 a year. And Dr. Watson, it comes with a little outdoor space, so keeping your dog here would be no problem. Come inside. The entry is just down these steps, and then we go up the stairs to the first floor.
Who's that fellow lurking in the corner? He looks like a ruffian.
That's Mr. Lascar, the building manager. He's in charge of security. You'll be quite safe here. Follow me upstairs. The front room is plainly furnished, as you can see. The sitting room leads to a bedroom.
The bedroom looks out upon the back of one of the wharves.
And I see between the wharf and the bedroom window there is a narrow strip of land.
That's the outdoor space I mentioned. You and Roy would have use of it at low tide, when it's dry.
And at high tide?
It's covered with at least 4.5 feet of water.
Is there a second bedroom?
Yes, it's currently occupied by a part-time tenant. He's a squalid, professional beggar with a twisted lip. But he uses the room only on weekdays, and then only for a few minutes, mornings and evenings. He doesn't sleep here, so you will not run into him very often. Do you gentlemen like the rooms?
Well, the low price is attractive, but I'm opposed to taking on another flatmate.
I don't wish to have an extra flatmate either. Besides, this street on the farthest east of the city, I don't like the looks of it.
Please show us something that is in a more genteel neighborhood.
We're in Kensington now, in the West End.
Yes, this is more like what I had in mind, yes.
The flat is upstairs in number 13 Caulfield Gardens. It's an ideal location for getting around London easily because it's quite near to the Gloucester Road station of the Metropolitan Railway.
Is that the building? A flat-faced, pillared and porticoed house in the Middle Victorian style?
Yes, and this flat has something quite rare in London. It has a view.
I see children playing up and down the road.
Well, this is a residential street with many families. You're sure to meet them when you take Roy for his daily walks.
It's dark in this entry hall. There's only one gas lamp, a mere point of light. I suppose we go up this curving, uncarpeted stair.
Yes. To the suite of rooms on the first floor. We enter through the dining room.
We don't need a dining room.
I was thinking you could use a table for your chemical experiments.
I could indeed. This whole room could be a laboratory.
Now, follow me into the next room. Oh, I'm sorry. It's littered with books and papers.
Evidently, the tenant has not yet vacated the premises.
But the writing desk will stay. So, Doctor, this is your home bureau.
I like it.
And as I said, this flat has a view. Right through these rare windows you can see...
Shh. Do you hear that?
What?
As I was saying, the view from the window...
Directly over the Metropolitan line. That train passed only about 4 feet below the windowsill. If anything were to fall out, it would land on the tracks. It could even land on top of a railway carriage.
There will always be trade-offs with any place you live. The rent for this flat is far below your budget. It's only £138 a year.
Owing to this view, no doubt.
Have you no other flats to show us?
There is one more on my list, and it's not far from here.
Where are you taking us? We went from Cavendish Square into Manchester Street, then Blandford Street.
Yes, and now we're in this narrow Blandford Mews.
I apologize. We have to go in the back way. The landlord provided the agency with only one key, and it's for the tradesman's entrance. The property is called Camden House, and the flat we're going to see is on the first floor. Follow me upstairs.
What is the rent?
£185 a year. So just under your budget.
But it's an empty house. We shall have to buy all the furnishings.
Think think of it as an opportunity to make the place your own. To put your own stamp on it.
It needs work, too. The planking is bare, the wallpaper is hanging in ribbons, there's dust all over everything.
And no outdoor space for Roy to, you know.
This front room does have potential. It's large and square.
But it's heavily shadowed in the corners. Without igniting the gas lamps, the only light comes to the center of the room through those front windows, which are thick with dust. I can barely see the street outside.
Well, I think it's time you gentlemen made some decisions. You've now seen 3 apartments. Flat number 1 in Upper Swandam Lane. Flat number 2 in Caulfield Gardens. And flat number 3 here in Camden House.
It would be logical to eliminate one right away, leaving only 2 to choose from.
Very logical, Holmes. I would eliminate the flat in the East End. Would you really want to live above an opium den?
I would not object. But I agree with your assessment of the neighborhood. I didn't like it either. And it would discourage many of my likely clients and visitors. Let us rule that one out.
Done.
Now we are left with 2 choices. Camden House here will require a great deal of cleaning. And although the rent is below our budget, we will incur extra cost in buying all the furnishings. So I lean towards Caulfield Gardens. You would have a bureau in which to write, I would have a laboratory, and the flat is fully furnished. We could move right in.
It would indeed be easy to take the furnished flat, but we'd have to keep those rear windows closed, or else everything inside would be covered in soot from the trains. And consider all the noise, all day and into the night. My nerves, you know. I could not live there.
I'm sorry, Miss Stamford. If Watson and I are to share diggings, none of these flats is acceptable to both of us.
You know, if this Camden House flat here were cleaner and more brightly lit, it would be very attractive. Let me rub away some of the dust from the window with my sleeve. Now I can see the road in front. Miss Stamford, what street is that?
Baker Street.
It looks very nice. There are shops as well as houses. Why have you not shown us a flat in a well-kept house like that? Like, say, that one directly across the way? Oh my goodness, look! There's a sign in a first-floor window. Flat to let.
I didn't know about it. I'm sorry. My agency does not have a listing in Baker Street.
Let us go across the way and see the flat on offer.
Hello? May I help you?
Are you the landlady here at number 221?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Hudson.
How do you do? We saw your sign in the window.
Are all 3 of you looking to live together?
No. It would be just these 2 gentlemen, Dr. Watson and Mr. Holmes. I am their house agent. Here is my calling card.
A house agent, are you? Well, you've done no work on my behalf, young lady, so I'll not pay you any kind of commission. You can stay in the hall while I show these gentlemen upstairs.
Perhaps you would let me represent number 221 in the future.
Oh, no, that's my address. For the parlor floor and the floor below. The rental flat, 17 steps up, has its own postal address, 221B. Come, gentlemen, I'll show you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
This looks to be a very nice suite of rooms.
I like this large, airy sitting room. It's cheerfully furnished and illuminated by 2 broad windows. Where are the bedrooms?
One bedroom adjoins the sitting room. It's right through the door there. The other bedroom, it is on the next floor up, but it is larger than the one here.
Would you mind, Watson, if I were to take the smaller bedroom off the sitting room and you the larger bedroom upstairs?
That would be a fair deal. I agree.
Then this place will suit us very well. Tell us, Mrs. Hutton, what is the rent?
£4, 5 shillings a week. But you may have it for £4 even if you will sign a lease for the entire year.
208 divided in half is all right with me.
104 a year is close enough to what I wanted to spend all along. We'll take it.
Please follow me downstairs. I will make tea and we can sign the rental agreement and... Is that a dog?
My dog? Yes, I left him tethered to the iron railing in front. I'll bring him inside.
Oh, no, you won't. No dogs, no cats, no birds either. I once had a tenant. Oh, he was a canary trainer. Oh, no, never again. I am sorry, I must insist. No pets of any kind.
Oh, that's too bad.
Watson, my dear fellow, I wonder if you would consider relinquishing your dog so that we might move into these splendid rooms.
Well, I only just got him the other day. We haven't yet formed a close bond.
Miss Stamford, did you not say earlier that you wished you had a dog?
I did say so, yes. And I have taken a fancy to Roy. And as I will not be earning a commission today... Oh, Dr. Watson, would you let me take him?
Certainly. I'm sorry to be losing a dog, but I am very happy to be gaining a new friend.
Then the matter is settled. Come, let us take tea with Mrs. Hudson and make our rooms ready. We shall move in tomorrow.
You have been listening to FlatFinders 1881, an audio play by Hal Glatzer, starring Jonathan Bruce King as Sherlock Holmes, Andrew Pardini as Dr. Watson, Leslie Middlebrook as Violet Stanford, and Tiffany Knight as Mrs. Hudson, the sound effects, and Roy the dog. FlatFinders 1881 was produced by audio playwrights and the adventuresses of Sherlock Holmes and performed at the Coffee House Club in New York on the 10th of January 2024. This is Hal Glatzer. Goodbye, and thank you for listening.